The work and programming of the Robbins Regional Chamber centers on our role of being the go-to organization, serving as the connector of people and resources, the convener of leaders and influencers who make things happen, the catalyst for business growth, and a champion for a stronger community. As a not-for-profit, nonpartisan membership organization, the Robbins Regional Chamber is a bridge that links businesses, military organizations, and residents together with innovative programs that strengthen the Robbins region's economic vitality, business success, job creation, and quality of life. The Chamber represents our business community by advocating for policies that foster a positive business climate. The Chamber also supports innovative ideas to educate, attract, and retain a high-quality workforce. We are committed to advocate for business-friendly regulations and policies, attractive business climate, fiscal integrity, healthy infrastructure, a talent-rich workforce, innovation, ethical business dealings, and inclusivity and transparency. In an effort to learn where our candidates stand on issues related to these priorities, we invited all of them to participate in one-on-one interviews. We hope that you will do your research on the candidates and show up to vote for this important election for our city of Warner Robins, Georgia, and this special election. Now, let's hear directly from the candidates.
Hi, my name is Derek Mack, and I'm running for Post 1 City Council of the great city of Warner Robins. I consider myself to be a native of Warner Robins as I moved here in 1977. I'm a veteran of the United States Army and a veteran of 3 foreign campaigns. I moved back to Warner Robins in 1995, and my purpose and reason for running for city council I never saw a public office or political office, as I don't consider myself a politician, but what I do consider myself is as a public servant. And I want to use this platform to service my community in a greater capacity. I consider myself to be the all-inclusive candidate because I want to have, I want true democracy to be represented on the council. I want to be a person that's representing every citizen within the city, regardless of whatever background, race, economic base that they come from, whatever religion they practice. I want to be a voice for everybody so that they're bright, so that we can appropriate the tax dollars that best benefit every citizen. This is not a partisan race. This is not a campaign about race. It's none of that. I've heard that in the past, but that's not what this is. I considered myself the all-inclusive candidate, like I said, because I grew up here. I know what the spirit of the international city looks like. I know what it looks like. And I just want to recapture that spirit and move the city forward so that it may step into its purpose.
Hi, my name is David Reed. I'm your city council candidate for Post 1 citywide here in Warner Robins. I'm also the founder and moderator of the Facebook page Enough is Enough in Warner Robins. We have spent the last 3 years discussing the happenings here in our town and our municipal government. I would like to ask for your vote March 16th to represent you as I have for the past 3 years. I look forward to working with our current council and mayor to improve our city, continue our growth in a positive way, positive growth. We want to reduce crime, reduce our blight, bring in industry, bring in jobs, improve our tax base. Together, we can do that. Please vote David Reed. Thank you.
My name is Catherine Harless, and I'm running for the Warner Robins City Council Post 1 at large. I've lived in the city most of my life and worked here as well. I've attended Macon State College, and I have a daughter who graduated from Warner Robins High School and Auburn University. I've worked in the Department of Defense area for 17 years as a contractor, and currently I'm a government employee at Robins Air Force Base. I have worked in municipal government with the city of Centerville in the early 90s, and I'm here to announce my candidacy. I love this city, and I hope to continue to support as a council member here and just do the best I can for the city.
First question is, what experience do you have with municipal government?
To be completely honest, I have I don't have any experience with municipal government. I've never held a seat before. I've never ran for office in any capacity. But what ties me in with the municipal aspect of the community is that I'm constantly in and around all areas of our community trying to make it better. Have I made decisions in in a city municipality? No, I haven't. But that does not qualify. That does not qualify me or does not qualify me for this position because I feel as though every citizen within this city has some qualifications they can bring to the table, as everyone has a journey that deserves respect that will qualify them to run for city council.
My experience has been the last 3 years, as I said, running the Facebook page Enough is Enough in Warner Robins. I've communicated nearly daily with some of our elected officials and department leaders. I've done open records requests on many functions in the city. I've included thousands of pages of documents, contracts, agreements to find out how we're spending the taxpayers' money. I would email our elected officials, discuss the options with them to get a better understanding, and then present that information to the citizens on Facebook, where I have a page with nearly 8,000 people on it that follow along with what we're doing. I would show at every city council meeting for the past 3 years. Last year, virtually online. I've watched each one of those. Previous to City Hall closing, I attended every single City Hall meeting. I spoke at quite a few of them and tried to invite as many people as I could to come and participate. So my experience with city municipal government has been open for everyone to see and be a part of.
I worked as a water clerk with the city of Centerville when I initially started with them, and I got promoted to the deputy city clerk position from 1990 to 1995 with Mayor King. And the city clerk was Virginia Abbott. They helped me get trained through the Georgia Municipal Association up in Athens, Georgia, getting proper training. Of course, that's many years ago, but I think it's pretty much the same training and everything that's today, the foundation of it.
What, in your view, are the three greatest strengths of our city government?
The three greatest strengths of our city government is, for one, our city government has an opportunity to be great based on the relationship that we build with the base. The greatest thing about our city government in this city is it ties in the past, it is tied in with our youths and implemented a spirit of mentorship so that they can have a greater life moving forward with our rec department. It mentored so many kids. It mentored a kid like me, you know, and the thing about it is that I also know is that the city has such a diverse culture. And if we were to pull our resources together, we can be the greatest city in the state of Georgia.
I would say the three biggest areas: crime, bringing jobs and industry in, and improving our tax base. All three go hand in hand. We need to improve our crime. There's several ways to do that. One is beginning to look at budgeting additional police officers to match our population growth that we've seen over the last 2 decades. Another is to remove blight. Blight reduction reduces crime. We need to focus on this, stop kicking it down the road, and start in full force on enforcing the laws that are on the books. We also need to bring in industry. If we bring in industry, real jobs, that improves our tax base. To do that, that's what we need to do to improve our police force and improve the blight. We need to improve our tax base. So the three things: crime, industry, and bringing in the better jobs to improve our tax base.
I think our three greatest strengths in our government will be one is communication. We need that and continue that with the city, the citizens here. And the second one, I think, the economic growth, working with other authorities in the county and the state of Georgia as well. And lastly, I think working also, the other strength is working along with the United States Air Force here. How fortunate we are to have them to have our city continue to grow, including Interstate 75 and all those businesses coming into the county and the city.
and to leverage those strengths as a member of City Council?
The one thing that I plan to do is working with our community, our civic groups. I want economic development in this city. We need it badly to bring revenue into our enterprise funds and appropriate our tax dollars properly without raising our millage rates or our tax rates. I also would like the removal of blight. That's very important to me. And one way we can remove this blight is even find our out-of-town landlords and hold them accountable, even if we have to place lien on those properties for not holding them up to code. Work with our code enforcement officials to ensure all this is handled properly. And if not, we need to move forward and place liens and take them over and possibly tear them down and rebuild those areas and revitalize our city to be the beautiful city that it was meant to be.
I can leverage those strengths by communicating openly, transparently, not just at City Hall and the chambers, but also on Facebook, through the news media, newspapers. We need to present more information to the citizens to allow them to participate and be involved in the day-to-day functions and operations. Now, the citizens elect representatives to represent them, but I think they would be a lot more in tune if we participated along with them. We're not city leaders, we're city representatives. And I want to represent the people. The only way to do that is to include them, involve them, and participate with them. Together, we achieve a whole lot more than just a few city leaders running the show. This is a representation of everybody in the city.
I would like to work in close with the Economic Development Authority, the Houston County Commissioners, and just be a participant at this time, because, you know, being a listener, a learner, you could learn so much more before you can lead, but mainly follow and listen to our citizens as well, the small businesses, that is, our communities, north and south, east and west of the city, because everybody's going to have some issues, problems. Other than that, I think that's the best I could do is for leveraging, just being there to support those authorities and just have open lines of communication.
If elected, what are the 3 biggest challenges in the city that you plan to address?
Or the 3 big things that I want to address, working with our current council and our honorable mayor, is economic development. We need it. Most of our areas are overcapacitated. I want to allocate resources for our police department to ensure that they have what they need to do their job efficiently, removal of blight, public safety, and programs for our youth. The economic development part, we want to work with our authorities and our economic development director and help him strengthen the tools so that he can utilize those tools to bring industry here and also give the mayor time to recruit new business in our city.
I would say the 3 biggest areas: crime, bringing jobs and industry in, and improving our tax base. All 3 go hand in hand. We need to improve our crime. There's several ways to do that. One is beginning to look at budgeting additional police officers to match our population growth that we've seen over the last 2 decades. Another is to remove blight. Blight reduction reduces crime. We need to focus on this, stop kicking it down the road, and start in full force on enforcing the laws that are on the books. We also need to bring in industry. If we bring in industry, real jobs, that improves our tax base. To do that, that's what we need to do to improve our police force and improve the blight. We need to improve our tax base. So the 3 things: crime, industry, and bringing in the better jobs to improve our tax base.
One of the things is just to help with getting financial resources. And I think if we could have a grant writer for the city of Warner Robins, like the city police department has, they have a grant writer to help them with their financial resources. I think it would be a great supplement, and enforce some money into like downtown of Warner Robins, building up the city's buildings and helping other companies come in and build up downtown area. Talking about smart city as well. that is another plus for us with the cities, some of the cities that's not as up to date as other cities like Russell Parkway area and Highway 96 area.
How do you plan to address these areas of concern as a member of council?
The one thing that I plan to do is working with our community, our civic groups. I want economic development in this city. We need it badly to bring revenue into our enterprise funds and appropriate our tax dollars properly without raising our millage rates or our tax rates. I also would like the removal of blight. That's very important to me. And one way we can remove this blight is even find our out-of-town landlords and hold them accountable, even if we have to place lien on those properties for not holding them up to code. Work with our code enforcement officials to ensure all this is handled properly. And if not, we need to move forward and place liens and take them over and possibly tear them down and rebuild those areas and revitalize our city to be the beautiful city that it was meant to be.
I will address these areas of concern with the people. It's the people that will come together to show support for or opposition to any of the plans that we want to put forth. If we present to the people the actual crime numbers that we are seeing and be open about it, they'll be much more apt to support any measure that we can to improve the number of police officers that we have. I believe everybody would fully support bigger industry coming in, bringing more jobs to our city. Any reason why anybody would not want to support that? Improving blight, everybody wants to live in a nice community, nice, clean, organized, and safe. The biggest thing we got to do is just get everybody involved, just like I've tried to do the past 3 years on my Facebook page, where we have open communication. It's just open lines, representatives.
I'll just bring it up to the city, and we had a discussion, prior to the meeting. I think that would be mainly and see where other council members' ideas could come into play and who they already know as for other companies or businesses or, connections they have, whether it's with the Perry Chamber of Commerce or the Peach County Chamber of Commerce, other authorities. We just need to have some communication with other people to help, push this forward. Everybody has great ideas, and just trying to implement those ideas will take time, but at least it's moving forward to a positive direction for the city.
Are you committed to a balanced budget for the city? Please explain your answer.
I am very committed to balancing the budget. I feel as though balancing the budget is one of the most important things that the mayor and the council should do, because we get a true picture of where we're lacking and where our strengths are. If we balance the budget across the board, we will have enough funds to appropriate them properly. For instance, with our public works department, we have a lot of leaks in the city. If we balance the budget appropriately, we'll get a true picture of what we need to address as we identify those constraints within our city, and we can allocate those resources by budgeting the city's finances properly. That's very important. That's one of the most important things we need to do, is to ensure that we have a balanced budget in an effort not to raise taxes, millage rates, and utilities.
Absolutely. I am committed to a balanced budget. For one reason, we have to be. It's the law. We can't go into a year without it being balanced. We need to take a look at how we're balancing the budget. Are we just borrowing from other areas to balance it? Or are we genuinely focused on keeping money in the reserve funds while still maintaining the proper legally required minimum balances? We need to look at improving that minimum balance and taking it back to where we were a couple of years ago when we had more months in reserve. So yes, absolutely.
Are you committed to a balanced budget for the city? Please explain your answer.
Yes, of course, I am want a balanced budget for the city. I think it's been balanced and everything in the past years. It's just need to continue to do so with these trying times with COVID-19 this past year, and as well as the future. We don't know what's going to happen. But I think as for budgeting the monies and how we can get that to support that without raising taxes as too much, and keeping up maintaining our city streets, all the police departments and the fire department that they need to support our city where needed for emergencies is indeed a need there.
What measures would you support to increase revenue for the city?
I would like to revisit the G-Ramp project because from my understanding, we had industry waiting to come here to be a part of that joint runway scenario with Robins Air Force Base. We bought the some acreage north of the runway. We could even extend the runway, and that would be inviting and create some incentives to bring industry here. I know it takes time to receive the funds that we've invested for long-term large industry, but we have to set our future up for success. We can't only think about the right now. We have to set our children up for success so they have what they need to sustain the city so that it may step into its purpose. We need just like we did the Buc-ee's project, we need to find industry to come into the city so that it can continue to drive to offset all the rooftops that are being built because it stresses our police force, our fire departments, and other resources of that nature.
The biggest thing we need to support is bringing industry and business in. When we bring in business and industry, that brings tax dollars for us to use, but also brings in our enterprise funds. Since we own the water, natural gas, that just adds into our enterprise funds for our tax base. So I would support bringing business in, opening our doors, cutting the red tape, allowing businesses that want to come into our town to do so. We're the 11th largest city in the state. There's no reason why big business shouldn't be knocking on our doors, begging to build here, to bring jobs here. But we're focused on other items and haven't been focused on bringing big business or industry in. We're a little too focused on housing. Get a public supermarket in. That public supermarket, the tax created from that covers the amount of 15 to 20 homes each year at least. We definitely need to put some focus on bringing business in the next few years.
There'd be a lot of areas to support, mainly the small businesses. Unfortunately, in this past year, our large corporations in the city, such as Lowe's and the grocery stores, grocery chain stores, were the ones that benefit from it. They're the one that profited from it. Our small businesses did not. They were told to close. I'm very scared of that. I'm very fearful for them because it was hard for them as it is for us, and we don't have really a control over some things for ourselves. So I know we need to help support them who also support outside small local businesses and owners of property, from cattle and chickens and everything that we need to survive. So if we can, again, have a group to communicate and express that along the lines for our future, I think that would be very helpful.
What is your position on the city's plan to implement the rate increase on water services?
I just didn't think it was necessary during a pandemic. A lot of the constituents in this city had no idea. I feel as though the plan to raise it should have been put out there for the people. There should have been transparency. This is why we're raising the water rates. Give a state average of what the water rates are across the state and why, and give an explanation as to why we're raising the water rates 10% for the next 5 years. The way it was done, I think it throws salt on the wound to a lot of people that the council and the city's government is not being transparent in the efforts and whatever the agenda is.
Well, maybe bad timing. It feels that way, but it has been long overdue. We've done studies on it in the past. The previous study we did several years ago, we did not implement all the increases that were suggested. The last year and a half to 2 years, we've been running at a loss. The city cannot sustain that. The city's never put out to make a profit from the utilities, from the citizens. However, we also cannot continue to run it as a loss. So unfortunately, we did have to raise the utility rate. Luckily, they did stretch it out over a few years, which makes it a little easier, but it doesn't feel right because of the timing. But it was put in place because, again, we cannot run at a loss. depletes our general funds, where we're to balance the budget, not going to be able to do it unless we're pulling from something else. So unfortunately, the perception of timing was not good. I understand that with the pandemic. However, citizens, I think if we do the entire picture, which they had public meetings on it,
I don't want to raise it anymore, but it is valuable to have good, clean water and definitely qualified employees to take care of that for us. Those are valuable employees indeed. So if we would need to increase the means of that, then we would have to, but not necessarily through taxes. I think, again, it's through a grant writer. We can find some financial resources to support our plants, our water plants, and if we need to get new training or new equipment to support that, that would be great. Again, we would have to discuss this as a council member team and see where we can go from there.
The recent rate study that showed the city was not charging competitive rates, and there has been the budget shortfall you mentioned in the department. How would you have decided to address this issue in terms of the budget itself in handling the issue?
There was a shortfall, then, and it can be explained as to why. Okay, just because we're the lowest rate, that doesn't necessarily mean we're doing something wrong. That means we're running an efficient business in the city. And maybe those other cities need to look at what we're doing instead of us looking at what they're doing. Now, if there were budget faults and we needed the money, then that's a different scenario. But that should have been addressed a long time ago, so that it is not all of a sudden scenario where, oh my gosh, we're raising the water rates. We should have let the public know why we're raising the water rates before now. And what is it that has our budget so low? It's not all of a sudden scenario. This has been something that's been occurring years before now. So that should have been addressed before now.
I probably would have handled it sooner versus later. Unfortunately, not all news is good news. And sometimes we do end up having to pay a little more. 10% more sounds drastic. But the first year, it's a couple of dollars. We all need to pitch in every now and then to improve our entire city. This is one of those times. As unfortunate as the timing was, we could have looked at the budget a couple of years ago and implemented this when it was first brought forth. We need to do everything we can to keep from our property taxes down. But the utility rates does increase for everybody, not just property owners, but renters, everybody who has to pay the utility. So it's across the board that it does affect everybody, but it needed to be done.
Well, I guess it would just depend on how far it would go through the meeting within the council members and the mayor. They may have already something installed and I'm not aware of, like in place as a plan or something. I know they already have something in plan as this 5-year hike on our rates, but I think it's going to have to be more than just that. As for sustainment, we just got to look through other ways to help support that as well. As for promoting that or pushing that to the council, again, it's just going to have to be through communication, and hopefully we can have some help with the water authority as well. And they probably have some more experienced people that can help us out too.
Do you think we have a crime issue in Warner Robins? And do you support increasing fines and prosecution of crimes committed in our city?
Absolutely. I feel as though as our city has grown, it has grown a lot, and we need public safety is the forefront. One of the top three things that I want to address, because we do need to hold our citizens accountable. The crime, we have to stop it, because Warner Robins has always been known as a city that didn't tolerate crime. And we're sort of getting away from that. And I don't know, maybe we need to meet with the police chief and see exactly what he needs to identify any constraints that he's having that may curtail any response times for any crimes. Because like I stated, with all these rooftops and houses that we're building, our police force are stressed. It reduces our response time, and we need to address it. That needs to be a top 3 priority in our agenda going forward.
Absolutely, we have a concern with crime. While we do not see the same numbers as our neighbors in Macon-Bibb as far as homicide, what we do have a lot more of are property crimes. We have a lot of entering vehicles, home break-ins, business burglaries. You're all well aware we have a lot of traffic incidents here in Warner Robins as well. I would look to improve our police department, the number of officers we have, not necessarily increasing the amount of fines or jail time. That's not determined by the city. That's all done through state legislation and those laws. What we need to do is be a little more proactive in our police work. Have our officers have the opportunity and the time to reach out to the community. Just even drive through a community, stop and talk to folks. With calls back to back, they unfortunately don't have the time to be proactive. We're very reactive. Unfortunately, in the last 2 decades, the population growth has caught up to us. We need to look at strong measures to begin to bring additional officers in each year for the next several years to get us a little closer to where we need to be. So we definitely have a crime issue, mostly related toward property crime and burglaries. We have our fair share of robberies and other items that we.
Do you think we have a crime issue in Warner Robins? And do you support increasing fines and prosecution of crimes committed in the city?
Yeah, we do have a great deal of crimes in the city. We've had it, unfortunately, for many, many years, from rape to murder and robberies. I believe as long as this city continues to grow, and we can't control everything and everyone, so we definitely need to continue to support our police department, the sheriff's department. Know they are collaborating, and they're doing a great thing for our county, for our citizens, in the city, everywhere. And just continue to communicate that through every, whether it's with the local police or the Georgia State Patrol, and just trying to get a hand on it. I know it's everywhere. When I do mean Georgia State Patrol, because right there we have Interstate 75 right next to us. So there's a lot of unfortunate drug issues and human trafficking issues that we need to help support that, and try to diminish this problem we have.
It's been noted in recent years that Warner Robins has a significant shortage of police officers needed to handle the demands of our growing population. How, in your opinion, do we need to address this issue?
Well, we need more police officers, but we have to look at how much money does it take to put one police officer in the streets to protect our city? It's close to $1 million when you think about the salary, the training, the gun, the car, maintaining the car for one employee, approximately $1 million. So you're looking at $70 million, maybe. We need to get our funds together. We need to balance our budget. We do need it. I am all for that, but we can't do it irresponsibly. We have to do it in a responsible way, and we have to be able to pay those police officers the wages they need to retain the talent, so that we don't have a vicious cycle reoccurring of overturn within our police department. We need to be competitive with inflation, with the pay that we pay our police officers and our fire department, for that matter.
Absolutely support our police department. Do a lot of benefit rides for them, and anything I can do, try to join in and assist with. 70 officers short is scary. Now, not saying that we have to hire 70 police officers, right? That's nearly impossible. But we do need to start adding 3 to 5 per year to get us a little closer to that number. Some cities need more, some cities need a little less. I think we probably need a little less than a 70, because we have great leadership in our police department, and we have great officers, detectives, investigators. They do a phenomenal job. We just need a few more of them to take some of the stress off of them and allow them to do their job the way it's intended, being more proactive.
I think the best way we could address that is see what we could do as for training and to keeping our people here. The ones that are here, how can we keep them here instead of having a turnaround of employees there? It costs up to approximately $100,000 a person, a police officer, to train them, to equip them, all that they need to make sure they are prepared to be on the streets for us. Whether it's on a motorcycle or on a vehicle, it costs a lot of money, and it's going to take a lot of money for that to continue because we are growing in the city.
The city annex residential areas to clean up its borders. Please explain your answer.
We've been annexing property since Mayor Walker was in office. I'm for growth in the city, but I don't want the city to grow to the point that we can't maintain what we have. I feel as though instead of annexing land around our borders, I feel as though we need to allocate resources to the inner city to promote bringing business back to our inner circle of the city, revitalize, even if we had to tear down blighted buildings and rebuild from the ground up to bring new industry and focus there, because we're constantly spreading out, and everything is moving further and further out. But our inner city, like for instance, when you come up Watson Boulevard, when you go to other bases and coming out of their main gates, it's a beautiful place. And we need to concentrate on our inner city more so than the outer boundaries of our city.
That's a great question. If you've ever looked at our map, it is very confusing sometimes to see what portion is in the city and what portion is in the county, and why we have no clear areas in some aspects. I would definitely take a look at it to see what we can do. We definitely need to partner with the county. We probably partner with some of the neighborhoods to discuss the benefits, open up the pros and the cons as to why annexation may be beneficial to them. But as long as we do it in a partnership with those particular communities, with the county, will allow everybody to see the benefits, that'd be great. Now, the challenge of that is annexing more areas into the city requires more police officers, more first responders, more firefighters. So we need to look at a whole hard, sit down, have a very good look, deep look at what we can do, what we should do, what would be right for everybody involved, not just those in the city, but those that are currently in the county that we would consider annexing in. I would absolutely love to see our map a little easier to understand and read. Same with our first responders, to having discussion as to who responds to a certain call. I live in the city, but I have to drive through a portion of the county just to get to home.
Yes, I believe the city of Warner Robins should clean up their city borders and annex those areas that are still in the county, because it would support or show a better picture of and less confusion of where the city begins, where it ends. And I know those families that are in the county, most of them still want to be in the county because that's where they live outside the city many years ago. But we have grown, and in order to support them, I think with not just with the water and sanitation, but also with the police department and the fire department, it would help them be more inclusive with everything with the city. There still be in the known about the county and everything, although there are some people who prefer to just stay in the county, and they do have that right as well. That might be time to not be able to get that though.
And finally, why are you the best candidate for this position?
The best candidate, removing opinions and emotions out of the scenario. I consider myself to be the one guy that has the best interest of every citizen in this city. I don't have an axe to grind or a burden to carry from anything from the past, or I'm not tied to anybody else's campaign. I'm an individual operating on a $400 budget, I like to say. And I absolutely love this city. When I left the military, I could have moved anywhere in the world. I was living in New Orleans, but I missed Warner Robins, Georgia, because of the international city and what it represented and what it meant to me growing up. So much that I bought rental property. I wanted to revitalize the community, and I just want to serve this community because I love it. My mother lives here, and I just love the city, and that alone. I know everyone says they love the city. Everyone wants to serve the city, but I'm connected to the people in this city. As I stated before, the streets are the veins, the people are the oxygen, City Hall is the brain. And I want to be a liaison from those veins through those people to City Hall. And I want to be a liaison. I want to be their voice. I want people to take ownership of this city in a way that they could.
I would consider myself the best candidate for the position because of my experience and my passion. Been very experienced for the last 3 years, every day, doing something with, for the city, and for the citizens of Warner Robins. I get messages on my Facebook page constantly. How do I get a hold of these people? How do I get in touch with these people? What do I do in this instance? That has also educated me on who to talk to, what to find out, what questions to ask, and how to make things happen, how to get things done. Well, I believe my experience and my personal passion for the city of Warner Robins provides me to be your best candidate for city council.
Well, I believe my goals are to continue supporting and implement these ideas that we've discussed today, and for the best interest in the Warner Robins citizens. I want Warner Robins to become financially strong and resilient. I've been here since 1984. I was very young, and now I'm getting older. I want this city to be the best it can be. And I think with cost-effective projects and complying safely with environmental needs for this city to safely run the businesses and balance the city's budget and not to exceed it would help. We have a great city here, and it still needs a lot of work and always will need improvement, and I hope I can be a part of that.
First of all, I'd like to thank Ms. April for the opportunity and the Regional Chamber of Commerce for this opportunity, as I truly respect your platform. And I'm so happy that you reached out to me. I don't consider this a campaign or I say a popularity contest that's going to be divisive. I want to be all inclusive. I want to work with everyone in this city to move it forward so that it may truly step into its purpose. I want to dispel any rumors about anything about me that you may have heard. I am the all access candidate, along with being the all inclusive candidate. You can reach out to me at any time. Just go to my Facebook page, Derek Mack for Post One City Warner Robins, or my personal Facebook page, Derek Mack, and just inbox me if you have any questions. We'd like to converse about anything or address any of your concerns that you may have. Just get to know me. If you see me out in public, just come up and talk to me. I love to talk to people. I love to meet new people. I've served my country, foreign and domestic, 3 foreign campaigns. And I know what it takes. I know the type of energy and the work ethic it takes to move things forward. I don't want to be a guy that just talks about things in the city. I want to be a doer. I want to be a worker in the city. I want to come to where your problems are and talk to you about it and tap into your resources. Because first of all, I don't know it all. Everyone in the city has a journey that deserves so much respect. And I know people love this city. And I want to keep your tax dollars at the forefront of my mind in every decision that I make, every vote that I make. I want to keep you at the forefront of our agenda and our minds when we vote to move this city forward. Thank you.
I'd like to thank April and Robins Regional Chamber for inviting me to do this interview today. I'd like to invite every citizen of Warner Robins to come check out my platform. It's on several areas right now. It's on my Facebook page, Enough is Enough in Warner Robins. We have David Reed for Warner Robins City Council. We also have votedavidreed.com. Ask me anything. I'm an open book. Have been for the last 3 years. I've talked about city government for over 3 years on my Facebook page. We now have almost 8,300 followers on the page. Not all agree with me. That's good. We need to have open discussion, both for and against, opposition and support, so we can move together the city forward in a positive way. I want to ask you this last time, if you please come out and vote for David Reed. Visit me on Facebook, send me an email, send me a message. I will get back to you. Open discussion. And that will continue. If I'm elected, we'll continue to have the same open discussion that we've had the last 3 years. We'll do it together. Thank you very much.
Well, I think my concern is, besides what I have mentioned already, would be about the affordable homes here in City of Warner Robins, trying to help with the increase businesses on the side, north side area, or at least north of Russell Parkway, if you want to say that. We're going to need to increase the hospital. We need to expand that. I know they already have, but with this COVID-19 going on and the growth of the population here, not just in the city but in the county, it's amazing. Luckily, we have the Perry Hospital, and then we have the Macon hospitals. But I see that there's going to be need for more medical use, not necessarily for emergencies, but more for mental health as well. We need to build like a smart city, so to speak, for modular homes in the north side of town, because some of those houses been there, still there, brick homes and everything, but they're being empty because those people have come and passed, and some of the families have left. I think we need to help sustain that area and improve that area with, like I was mentioning, like smart cities. There's a website, I think it's called strongcity.org, that helps cities like ours or many cities that have not a blighted area of the city that there's going down. They've got to improve those areas, and I don't understand why they haven't after so many years. But I'm really concerned about the homeless, the retirees, and the senior citizens here, and I hope that being the city council member, I can be a part of that to improve their lifestyle.